Welcome back to the channel, and it is now race week for Ashby 20. So in this video you'll see how I get on at Ashby in the race, whether I complete it, and how my return to running is going post that injury. And surprise surprise, for the third week in a row now you're joining me from the Cloud Trail on a Wednesday evening. So this time of year it's an absolutely glorious day again, and this week's even warmer than last, so we're talking about high teens in the temperatures for this afternoon and this evening. So might actually be a little bit too warm coming to the end of this run. Not that I struggle with getting warm on a run anyway, but yeah, just that little bit warmer on tonight's run. So the place we'll start is with how my hip is, and to recap on last week, was all going okay until a long run on Sunday. I got a slight bit of discomfort coming out of that, so it's been a little bit sore. Still been keeping up the exercises for the physio, which I'm going to again tonight on Wednesday, so I'll provide a bit more of an update, post that later in the week. But I've been keeping the running, everything at a jog since, so I got a little bit naughty last week and got carried away and ran some sort of low 7-minute miles on Thursday and Friday, so that may have added to it. It may have been the long run of 15 miles on Sunday, but fingers crossed it's not got any worse, and feels like it's got slightly better as the week's gone on. So I feel confident that Ashby is going to be good to go. Going to get on that start line, give it a go. As I've said, I can get to about 11 miles would be the halfway point on the course, and then you've got another loop. So if I know that it's going to be bad, I'll know by then that I won't be stranded somewhere on the course at about 15 miles and still have to trudge back for another 5 miles. So that's the plan anyway. The cross training's been pretty consistent too, so quite a bit of swimming, and with the biking too, I've progressed from just doing everything at a really easy zone 2 effort to I tried something with a bit more resistance on Monday evening this week. So I felt that I didn't have any reaction to that, but I am going to limit this to just easy riding really. It was a nice test to see, but I don't want to get carried away and causing too much damage, because I did notice that my quads were a little bit tight after that, which then affected my run. On Tuesday I felt like my knees were a bit sore because the quads were tight. So this race week is looking a little bit different to a typical one, as usually I'll be looking at doing a midweek session on Tuesday or Wednesday, that last taper session, feeling confident and feeling sharp going into the race. But I've not done any form of session, any form of fast running really for quite a while, so it would be a bit daft to start now. So that's what I do want to get back to, but the plan really for me, because I've been a full 1 month of no running, I've got to build that conditioning, the strength back in my muscles, in my tendon, so that I can take the load of running again. And it's really given me a good base for when I do get back into training, but I'll just have that base of sort of that conditioning is going to be there, so I won't really get any issues going forward. And I'll also have a bit of an aerobic base too, that it's been better that I've been able to get out little and often most days, as opposed to just really limiting my running to a couple of times a week. So I think that's going to be a real positive for when I get back running. And as I've been saying over the last few weeks, I've been noticing that my fitness is improving. The first couple of weeks of running, I was running at an easy pace, but that heart rate was very elevated. So I've been able to run an easy sort of effort run at a faster pace and notice that the heart rate's a bit lower. So these are all positive signs ahead of getting back into some consistent training. So I thought I'd check in with a post-physio update, and there's a bit of good news and a bit of bad news. So I'll start with the good news, and that is concerning Ashby 20. I've got the go ahead, I'm going to give it a go. Obviously going to listen to my body, and if I don't feel good at halfway or a point where throughout the course when I can get back, I am going to stop and pack it in. But I think with last weekend, with getting to 15 miles, running at that same sort of pace, I should be okay to at least run at halfway and at least get to that 15-mile point. And at that point, there's only 5 miles to go after that. So I feel like Ashby is going to go okay. But my concern is a bit of bad news that's coming up, and that's that it's not really in a month got any better. So the strengthening I've been doing, I feel like that's had an impact. It's made an effect on me being stronger in the issue that was going to be treating, which was the gluteal tendinopathy. So it feels like my glutes are stronger, my glute med in particular, with the banded work, and that's had a positive impact there. I've been aware of the issue with my anterior pelvic tilt, so basically I'm sort of tilting forward at the hips and being slouched over a little bit, which is a byproduct of being sat down a lot, not really having the best posture, and then bringing that into my running. So kind of in the past, probably not consciously thinking about engaging my core when I'm running, just sort of plodding along, and it's caused that sort of habit really over time to have that anterior pelvic tilt. So that I'm consciously aware of this now and I'm taking steps to correct this is a positive. So strengthening the glute med and that anterior pelvic tilt, I'm on the right direction for there. But there's a third issue here, and it's probably put down to one of the symptoms I had before I went to physio, which was that I'm struggling on that right leg to do internal rotation, so to turn sort of my whole leg inwards so that my ankle sort of turns about 45 degrees. That's really painful for me at the moment. Not anything that I'm getting any pain on the left hand side, the good side, but I'm really getting a sharp pain on this on the right hand side. So this might be the thing to fix, so that I can finally get back to training and ramping up my training again. I don't feel that it's affecting me while I'm just sort of running in a straight line at an easy pace, but I think it can impact me if I'm to lift that knee a little bit higher and put a bit more power into my efforts. I think that's what's limiting me. So that's pretty much down to the sartorius muscle, which is the longest muscle in your body, and it runs from the top of the hip down to inserts at the knee, and that muscle seems to not be working in the right way. I seem to have a lot of tightness in that. It's very difficult for me on that side when I'm doing things like lunging, dropping my knee to the floor. I can feel that side is very weak compared to doing it on the other side, and it's not something that I've really had an issue with in the past. So I think that solving this is going to be the key to getting back to running again, getting back to that training. And yeah, there's next steps here. I'm in with physio again next week. We had a look through some of the MRI images just to see what had been sort of causing this issue, because doing all the testing, we did the fader test, which I really tested positive for. I was getting a lot of pain through that, which is the sort of positive sign of having something like a labral tear, which I don't want to have. I hope I've not got that, and my MRI did rule that out, but it's just a confusing one that I'm getting those symptoms that I should have something sort of more serious. But yeah, I need to pin down what it is and get myself sorted again. So the bottom line is that I'm okay to carry on as I am. The light training, I'll do Ashby, I'll just keep running easy and keeping up the cross training, keeping up those strengthening exercises too, because I don't think they can do any harm on the glute med. And yeah, just being patient and taking it from there. But I really want to get some answers with this issue where I'm sort of getting pain on that internal rotation. I think if that can clear up, then it's going to fix the whole hip issue and I can get back to it again. So here we are at the start of the Ashby 2026. So the start is quite a friendly descent from Ashby into the village of Packington. So it's important not to get carried away in this first mile or two, especially at the start of the race anyway. It's always a challenge, but particularly when you've got a bit of a descent in the first mile. In this section you've got a particularly steep descent coming up. We're firmly onto the loop now, so we've been into Packington, turn right, and then we start the loop. So it's always great to run with my good friend Mark Harriott just in front in the yellow vest, and recently he's had a very tough winter with a pretty serious health battle that is ongoing throughout this. So to go and do things like this, running events like this and keep on his training is really inspiring.
Thank you.
This part of the course, it was around 7 to 8 miles in, and we were getting towards the Conkers water station. So our friends at Conkers Park Run, DJ and Jay in the tents, and on the drink station it was good to see some familiar faces on the course.
Thank you. Cheers. Sorry. Do you want this one? Oh, you got it.
We were soon back into the village of Packington, so ready to start lap 2 of the loop. So I was getting a drink of water throughout Packington, and the next clip you'll see is at 10 miles. So we're halfway and you'll see the clock shortly, and that will read 2:16 a couple of hills later, and this was 15 miles. I wish those 5 miles would have gone by as quick. That's 1:55 reading on the clock there. And next serving of the Conkers drink station, so some more tunes, some more familiar faces.
Cheers guys. Thank you. Cheers. Got it. Thanks guys.
Perfect, thanks.
And just after this drink station, I think we went up a little bit more of a hill after that. Here's my favourite part of the race, and it's this long downhill before you've just got one more hill back onto the loop. So really enjoy the scenery here. You can see all the runners strung out right into the horizon there, and it's a good chance really to stretch your legs, open up that stride a bit without taking too much energy up. And we're soon at 18 miles and not far off the turn for heading back into the course. So as you can see, still feeling okay there. Got my water, it was a very hot day today.
Cheers guys.
And we're back onto Packington, where we'll soon take a right and back towards the bath grounds at Ashby.
There you go mate, all the way back.
So this is the first hill on the climb back from Packington towards Ashby. The lens doesn't really do it justice, but this was one of the sort of steepest hills in the race. It levels out a little bit at 19 miles, but you still have another kick up to get to this section, where we then descend from the last hill and then you're going towards the bath grounds here. So we're in about the last 500-600 metres of the race now, able to pick up a bit more pace, and then join me for the last 300 metres. So we're coming to the bath grounds, we take a right and then follow this path back up towards the finish line in anticipation of that cheese cob, that Titan bar and that hoodie. So what colour's the hoodie going to be?
Thank you.
It is always well supported in this section, as people have come back from Packington to head back up to the finish line to see all the finishes.
That's on Rob.
Cheadle Running Club from Cheshire, well done. Another South Derbyshire Road Runner, Belper Harriers, great running.
Well done, that was amazing.
Cheers.
So a few thoughts post-race of Ashby 20, and you might be thinking, what's the hoodie colour? That's the big question, and I did wear the hoodie after a race, but got quite sweaty, so that's in the wash now. So the colour is a greyish shade of purple. It's quite nice, really. Looking forward to be wearing that next week with pride after doing the 20 miles. So I'm actually in my Arsenal top today, as I will be hopefully seeing them lift the League Cup at Wembley. So we'll see how that ages when this video comes out. In terms of the race, the main thing was getting round okay with my hip not hurting, and the longest run before this was 15 miles last weekend. So had a little bit of unknown territory there for the last 5 miles. You always struggle when it's the longest run that you've done in a while. So throughout the race, I decided to go off slightly faster because I knew the first mile or two were downhill. So I wanted to take advantage of that rather than braking on the hill and possibly causing more damage to my hip. So the first couple of miles went off at just under 7:30 pace. And I told myself before the race, I want to run around 8-minute miles, but that was really just a figure I'd plucked out my head because I've been running 8-minute miles for my easy runs and it felt okay. So I didn't want to risk anything more, but I knew that I probably got a little bit more in me. I just didn't really know how I'd react after, say, 10 miles at this kind of pace. So did the first lap in, it was a shade over 7:30, so it would have been somewhere around 2:30 to finish, maybe 2:32 when I got to halfway. Did then slow a little bit on the second lap, but as I say, I got to around 15 miles with the hip feeling okay, and I don't think that the hip was really the trouble that I had was linked to the injury. It was probably just a bit of conditioning, that I've not been used to running that far, because I did get a bit of soreness on the opposite side of my hip as well, so on the left hip too. And I'll probably just put that down to running a longer distance that I haven't run for a while. It's common that when I do build up my long run, I will get sores and niggles, and you kind of expect that really. You shouldn't be able to run 20 miles and feel completely fresh for the first time you're doing it. So that was completely normal. My finishing time was 2:33.55, so I was looking back on the text messages I got for the results, and I knew that the slowest time I've done at Ashby was 2:30.50, so I'm around 3 minutes slower than the slowest time I've done at Ashby. Typically I'd be within the 2:13 to 2:17 sort of range when I'm aiming for having a good hard long run 3 or 4 weeks out from a spring marathon. So this time's obviously a little bit different, and I wasn't too fussed about the time. I just knew in the back of my head that getting somewhere in the low 2:30s was just a bit of a goal that I could go for and get round in, so that it wasn't the slowest time I'd done at Ashby, but it wasn't worth pushing my hip on for the sake of just getting a slightly better time. It doesn't bother me whether I'd have run 2:25, 2:30, 2:35, 2:40, as long as I got through that 20 miles. And actually running it at 2:34, so slightly quicker than that 8-minute miles. It's a little bit less time on the feet. I'm running more naturally, probably with a little bit more efficiency and better technique than if I was to hold myself back to running 8-minute miles, and I'll be out there a bit longer, forcing maybe a shortened stride, not very efficient technique, and I may even have been worse off running it. So I'm pretty pleased with how it went. It's really given me something to focus on when I know that it's probably not the wisest thing to do when you're coming back from an injury, to be racing so soon and be doing a longer distance that you haven't done for a while, but it's really given me a focus to get out each day and run easy, keep up those physio exercises, and keep on top of cross training too. I think the hours I've done on the bike and in the pool have helped my fitness and really allow me to get through that run aerobically feeling pretty good, as opposed to if I had not done that,
I might have found that the limiting factor was my aerobic system, my endurance, and really found that more difficult than I did today. So I want to keep that up. I think it's a good addition to my training to have that extra swimming and cycling in there without putting any extra stress on my body. So the plan for next week, I'm obviously first and foremost going to recover from this run. It may be that I don't run on Monday or Tuesday. I've been used to running most days and having the odd rest day, but I haven't done anything quite as hard as that in quite a while. So I'm going to treat it like I've just run a marathon and wait until I feel like I'm ready to start running again and get back into training. So I'll be seeing the physio next Tuesday, so hopefully I get a little bit of a clearer picture of what I can do to improve how my hip's been and really get back to training properly again. I can jog, I can keep my fitness up, but I'm not really sort of making any progress with getting towards my PBs and what I want to do. So it would be good to get back to that, and I'm just hoping for some positive news next week. I'll keep doing everything I can to keep fit, to keep healthy, and not obviously pushing anything that's going to make my hip worse. And hopefully another good week. I don't think I'll do quite as much mileage. I've built up from 30-ish miles and it's increased up to 53 for this week. So no chance we'll be doing 53 miles. It's probably going to be somewhere around 30 to 40 miles next week, just to recover my body, reset, and yeah, get back to a little bit more normal training the week after. So thanks for watching this video. If you did like the video, think about liking or subscribing to the channel, where you'll be notified for free weekly running content. So I'll see you in next week's video.